in Duluth.
Thank you for that.
So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a
to the
precinct
best of
3
my
burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a peaceful protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a peaceful protest, right? As I watched lawlessness devastate Los Angeles this past week, I was reminded of your failure to protect Minnesota from similar riots. Governor Walz, on May 29th of 2020, during your own press conference, you described your response to the riots during the 2020 Summer of Love as...
What's up, Patriots? Welcome back to American Mindset, the channel where we cut through the noise and give you the real scoop on what's happening in our country. Today, we're diving into a fiery congressional hearing that just went down. I don't know about you, but watching this exchange between Governor Walz of Minnesota and Congressman Stauber had my blood boiling. Let's watch the video.
One from the National Immigration Center.
Without objection to order.
National Immigrant Justice Center and the Alliance for Immigrants.
Without objection to order.
They speak for themselves.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stauber from Minnesota.
Thank you very much. Governor Walz, thanks for being here today. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I ask you to keep your remarks brief. I got a lot to go through. As you know, I spent 23 years as a law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota. You know that, right? Do you know that, yes or no?
I don't know how many. It's
not a trick question.
I don't know
I'll
how many
answer it for you.
years.
23 years in Duluth.
Thank you for that.
So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a
to the
precinct
best of
3 burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a peaceful protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a peaceful protest, right? As I watched lawlessness devastate Los Angeles this past week, I was reminded of your failure to protect Minnesota from similar riots. Governor Walz, on May 29th of 2020, during your own press conference, you described your response to the riots during the 2020 Summer of Love as, quote, an abject failure. Governor, I couldn't agree with you more.
That's out of context.
And on May 17th, 2025, you were at the law school, graduating Minnesota Law School, talking to the graduates. And we've talked about this. You called the enforcement of illegal immigrants a modern-day Gestapo. You've been asked 3-4 times if you would rescind that, and you won't. Will you rescind it? This is like the 5th time, yes or no?
Congressman, I was talking to law students about due process, and I said
you
took an oath to due process.
Governor, was there a violent al-Shabaab terrorist who entered our country illegally arrested in Minneapolis last year? Yes, there was. Were there 3 illegal child predators arrested by ICE in St. Paul earlier this year?
I certainly hope so. That's their job.
Yes, there was. Are the officers who arrested the al-Shabaab terrorists or the child predators, are they Nazis or the Gestapo?
The tactics of wearing
They're
masks.
not.
The tactics of wearing masks.
Why did you tell us that they were the Gestapo? Do you believe that any of the violent illegal immigrants I have mentioned have a right to be in this country?
I don't know what their immigration status was.
They're illegal, violent criminals that the ICE took off the streets of Minneapolis.
You did not say, Congressman, what their status
Governor,
was.
last week, law enforcement officers in the state of Minnesota took 900 pounds of meth off the streets. Do you support that?
We certainly do.
Do you know that ICE assisted in that those arrests and investigations? Do you support the assistance of ICE in that enforcement action? Yes or no?
I can't speak to that because we were not included in the briefing.
You don't know if ICE was part of it? I'm telling you they were.
I don't have that data. I would have to trust you.
Will you apologize to our constituents and law enforcement officers for making them and their families less safe with your incendiary actions.
I'll congratulate them that they helped us work on the largest pension bill for
Governor.
Minnesota law enforcement in
Governor.
30 years.
Claiming my time. Governor, what weapons did you carry in war?
Congressman, for 24 years, I carried.
No. What weapons did you carry in war?
What did you carry in
What did?
uniform?
I
You
tell
know
you
I
what, Governor,
misspoke.
you're
know I
barking down the
misspoke.
wrong tree, okay?
You know I
You
misspoke.
lied to the Minnesotans. You said that you carried weapons in war.
Mr.
That
Chairman.
is stolen valor. You know
My-
what? My wife
Yeah,
served
Mr.
25,
Chairman,
24
I
years in
reckon-
the
a little bit of
military,
respect for the
and she's
witness.
an Iraq war veteran.
You know what I mean?
She was
This is
over in the,
hectoring. It's
in
not-
the war
not-
zone. That's
On a point
stolen
of-
valor, and I'm so
point of order,
disgusted with
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
And so are the people that you served
Point
with.
of order.
Point of order.
That's
Halt,
stolen
halt
valor.
just a minute. State
Stolen
point.
valor.
Mr.
You didn't
Chairman,
carry weapons
that's
in
not questioning
war.
the witness.
Congressman, my 24 years was
That's not-
public
Will
for
you
many, many
apologize
years.
for lying?
Objection.
Will you
No, I misspoke.
apologize for lying?
Objection.
All right, hold on, pause.
That's not questioning a witness. That's not questioning a witness. You
The
think
point of
so,
order.
huh?
State your point, Mr. Rankiman.
No, you're
State
yelling
your
at him.
point.
You're
There you
hectoring.
go.
You're hectoring. You're hectoring.
right.
You're hectoring.
State your
Governor,
point.
you didn't carry
That's
weapons
not-
in war, did you?
State your point.
You didn't
Proceed.
carry
You
weapons
got
in
24
war,
seconds.
did you?
Congressman, you know I
didn't carry
misspoke.
weapons in war, yes or no?
you.
You lied. Governor, what rank did you retire at?
I
What rank
served,
did you retire at?
Congressman, I served my battalion as the command sergeant
That's
major.
not the
and
question
for
I
pay-
asked. What rank did you retire at?
I retired as a master sergeant in
Okay,
EA.
here's your coin that says you're retired at a command sergeant major. That's
Says
your
I wore
challenge
that.
coin.
It
This
says
is-
I wore the rank.
This is that's right. You didn't retire, did you?
I did
Stolen
retire after
valor.
24 years.
Here is a picture of your coin, your challenge
Jesus
coin.
Christ.
I'm disgusted with you. I'm just.
Mr.
Governor,
Chairman, the
you
time
lie
has
when the
expired.
truth-
Congressman,
you lie
I'm-
when the
Gentleman's
truth is
time's
better.
expired.
You called half Trump supporters Nazis and fascists, and you know what? That's why the Minnesota Police and Peace Association did not support you in the last election because
Well, I
you're missing
support
in
them.
action.
Gentleman's time's expired.
On behalf of the folks from the land of rocks and cows, thank you. Now you go back.
Chair recognizes Ms. Tenney from New York.
All right, first things first. Congressman Stauber called out Governor Walz for his complete failure during the 2020 riots. And let's get real here. Was it a failure? Absolutely. Walz himself even admitted it was an abject failure. Though now he's trying to backpedal by saying it's out of context. Out of context? Really? The images of Minneapolis burning to the ground speak for themselves. Businesses destroyed, families terrified, law enforcement overwhelmed. This is what happens when leaders refuse to lead. And yet, Walz wants us to believe this wasn't his fault? Give me a break. Then there's this ridiculous comment Walz made about immigration enforcement being a modern-day Gestapo. Patriots, this is where I lose all respect for so-called leaders like him. Comparing our brave law enforcement officers, the men and women who put their lives on the line every single day, to the Gestapo is not just offensive, it's downright dangerous. It's a slap in the face to every ICE agent, every Border Patrol officer, and every cop who works tirelessly to keep us safe from illegal criminals. And let's be clear, we're not talking about innocent people crossing the border. Congressman Stauber mentioned an al-Shabaab terrorist and child predators IC arrested in Minnesota. Terrorists and predators. And Walz has the nerve to smear the very people who got those monsters off our streets? Unbelievable. Now, let's talk about the massive drug bust Stauber brought up. 900 pounds of meth taken off Minnesota streets. That's a huge win for law enforcement, right? But when Congressman Stauber asked Walz if he supported ICE's role in that operation, Walz dodged the question. Why? Because admitting ICE did something good doesn't fit his narrative. This is the same guy who calls them Gestapo, so of course he's not going to give them credit. But here's the truth. ICE plays a critical role in stopping drugs, traffickers, and criminals from destroying our communities. Patriot families deserve to feel safe, and ICE is one of the few agencies actively fighting to make that happen. All right, here's where it gets really heated. Congressman Stauber called out Walz for what he called stolen valor. Now, this is serious stuff. Walz has claimed he carried weapons during his military service, but when Stauber pressed him on it, the truth came out. He didn't. Let me tell you, as a patriot who respects our military deeply, this kind of dishonesty is disgusting. Walz tried to wiggle his way out of it by talking about his rank and his years of service, but the facts don't lie. Misrepresenting your service is a slap in the face to every veteran who's actually put their lives on the line. And the worst part, he got defensive instead of apologizing. If you can't even be honest about your service, how can we trust you to lead? Then there's this whole challenge coin debacle. Stauber showed Walz a coin that supposedly says he retired as a command sergeant major, but Walz admitted he actually retired as a master sergeant. Look, I'm no expert on military ranks, but I do know this. Integrity matters. If you're going to claim a title, you better be able to back it up. Otherwise, you're just playing politics with your service record. and that's shameful. And let's not forget this little gem. Walz has been accused of calling Trump supporters Nazis and fascists. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of being smeared just because I support America First policies. This is the kind of divisive rhetoric that's tearing our country apart. Instead of uniting us, guys like Walz are doubling down on their hatred for half the country. And you know what? That's exactly why the Minnesota Police and Peace Association refused to endorse him. Actions have consequences, Governor. Patriots, this hearing wasn't just a debate. It was a wake-up call. Governor Walz's failure to lead during the riots, his disrespect for law enforcement, his questionable military record, and his divisive rhetoric all show he's not fit to serve. We need leaders who respect our Constitution, support our law enforcement, and actually tell the truth. Guys like Congressman Stauber are fighting for us, and we need to stand behind them. Let me leave you with this. America is the greatest country in the world because of patriots like you. Don't let the lies and failures of politicians like Walz discourage you. Stay informed, stay strong, and stay proud of this great nation. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to American Mindset, and share this with your friends. Together, we can fight for the truth and for the future of America. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.